So I will try to talk about one single slide that we have for a long, long time. Let's go to this. So you can see this one. I make it a little bit smaller because people can remember how is this. So there you go. We did this basically, let's say 7, 8 years ago or so. This one. This is a little bit dated, but yeah. And from that point, we had only one thing that still was not there yet. It's called the whole supply chain security and everything that is invaded in the middle of the time there's. But despite that, nothing changed. Can you see exactly what is the problem on this one now? You see that everything that you need to do, we're talking about tooling there. So at that point, we didn't have, for example, binary analysis, but this is happening soon. There's coming, there are from people who are about code doing that. But this is a small graph. Can you see something that is something not feeling right on this? It's basically you don't have any connectors on these things. We have in the middle some artifact repository build tools, is a tracker there, but we're still toolings isolated. We're not talking only about open source toolings, but we're talking about the even proprietary toolings. No one communicates to each other at all. We are already 10 years in this thing, and we're still not doing that. Every time we need the tool that connects the other tool, we need to push someone inside your company to doing some conversion, some tooling that, and is mostly fault because it costs it to do a lot of problems because the people that you push into doing these things are not the ones doing the tooling, so we need to convert these things, and even becoming worse. For times that they're given ideas that documents is the right form to exchanging things. Let's go into the simple things. And this is coming from Gary. I hope he is watching this. Gary was in Alexios. They already says that we have a well-formed SPDX document. We can use this for translating everything. Let's go with that and think about. Okay, we can use an SPDX. Let's pick even one format to not make things complicated. We can use it one single SPDX file now. And then we have one format. And then you say, oh, we have everything correct. And then we can use the information from SPDX pick it from my Jira server to my Confluence server to my whatever place. Let's start with the point that he just said to us a few minutes ago that the tools are not generating the right SPDX. So where is the right information that you're getting from? And then let's go in the small steps. You pick this SPDX, you pass along for the other two, and then the other two generate other SPDX that's basically different of the previous one because added information, but not follow theirs. So in the end, even inside your company, you have a completely different information that you cannot track it down. And you cannot track down documents in this byproducts. So let's complicate the things. I go to my company and say, oh, okay, we have the SPDX files, we can use this as transition document. Sorry, I don't like it. I work at security, I like Cyclone DX, SPDX doesn't matter. Happens. And actually the security guy is right, because we enforce into him something that is not complete at the point for SPDX2 for security. So I cannot blame him. He's wrong. No, he's right. Probably not too. So today is this the majority problem with open source tools. We don't have a simple way to exchange information between tooling. And this is cost, I can tell you this costs millions between companies there. We tried for years. I'm pushing now for a SW360 project to try to make big change. It took us like 3 years to reach the first stage of the changes, taking all the fat of everything there. And now what is pitching, it's coming from inside Cariad, and then it's a long time, what's called single source of truth. We're trying to pitch some idea that we have a specification that separates completely what is the server, what is the implementation, and what is stored there. So in the end, we store whole data of everything that you produce, everything that you can scan from the software there. Because you started to understand that component is the same, project is the same, vulnerability are the same. Everything is the same for everyone and theirs. And then this will become in a whole data. And why it is good, this whole data? Separate whole data in this place here. Then it comes my security engineer. I like SPDX. Okay, generate SPDX. Then, okay, we are compliant, so we need the SPDX on this format. Generate SPDX 2 or 3. And then, okay, my preferred arguments. I, in management, want to have a pink Excel. We can do it. Colorful Excel for you. The only thing that is common, that's no conversion, not anything. The output comes from the same data. And then I have the other side, scanner. My scanner completely goes, scan code goes and generate all the data that can have the component. There's, I put the component, package URL, everything. Then I go to ScanOSS and those snippets scans from there. That actually the same package URL, everything. I put it in the same whole database here. So I don't have two sets of information come off the tooling. I have still one set of information that's still producing one things from the same data source. And then coming for different view, let's go to security people. They need to do the analysis of the software that they have that have security vulnerabilities. Let me tell one thing that these guys didn't know before. Yes, they need to scan entire the software and they need to do all the things to understand which one is have the vulnerability. Guess who do the first scan of every software in your company? The guys from licensing compliance. So we do the first information for vulnerability there. And we have nothing to do to provide to anyone this information. But if the information that we have is in the central database, security guys have access directly to the component, access directly to the security vulnerabilities. He knows from the day zero what happens in the same place. So what we are trying to do is first have a centralized way to have the data for all these tools around here having the same data. And then the second one is decentralize and distribute data that we can have a federated way. So think about what we are devising for future. We've been talking with a lot of people. So we have fantastic talks, for example, from people from software heritage. They have enough knowledge of how to handle data. They have enough knowledge about APIs. We have the knowledge to know which data and which format of data there's and what you want to come from out and what you want to store. So I think that in the future we need to start to talking with these people away from our bubble, and then to make insist the requirements for data is the same one that we can use it here, that can pass by, can be well stored and distributed in some way. Then even companies can start into using this and guarantee that everything is done. And to say that this idea is nothing new. So as Siemens started the SW360 project a long time ago, and they still use it and put every single information, including sources of the file inside the SW360. At that time was the right decision there. Today is, of course, not anymore because we have too many scalable and distributed systems, but the idea is correct. So we are just implementing an idea that was about 10 or 11 years ago that you started there. So this is exactly what I want to tell about tooling. This is exactly what is missing right now. The tooling is already there. We are already using. Yes, not perfect, yes, but effect that nothing communicates between each other, and you still rely on a physical documents that can rely on faulty parsing systems, is still not good and is costing to us. So that's what I want to talk about tooling in states today. Questions?
Well, first, a big hand for you. So big hand for Helio. Yeah, questions. I'd like to start with one, which is, that slide is familiar.
Yep, because as I told you, this started with us. Oliver started in the beginning of everything.
Right.
Yeah.
One thing that I had was about the tooling work group and this. There's quite a lot of material, but we haven't, I think, seen larger releases of material recently. Do you think updates to the slides and so on might be useful to do, or are they just done?
Yes and no, because this is if you're thinking about the common theme here in this entire conference, that we are starting to have lack of open source developers, other parts. It's already difficult to us to keep maintaining software and tooling. So there's a lot of people that can update a lot of documents, other things, but will not help actually to execute these things. So will be just documents and hiding. So that's it helps, but not. That's the reality on this one.
Yeah. All righty.
Yeah, somebody paid the work. Yeah, you were working on that, right? Yeah.
I'm working on that one, by the way.
Yeah.
Maybe that's for OpenChain.
Yeah, but if Daniel was not able to convince people saying that there's 20 billion of people using his software, imagine for him if it's people decided to pay €1 for each time to use one time in their life the software. He'll be billionaire there, and will not cost nothing to us. If us developers, I would be very happy to pay €1 to Daniel because that's. And he sustained that. So if people realize how it could be cheap to actually make these things work.
Right. Questions? And everyone's just like, come on, guys.
It's technical thing. Everyone runs our way. Yeah.
Speaking of which, I'm looking at Armine Hemmel. Well, Umo again. I was going to say with the technical stuff, if you had any insights, because you maintain one of the tools that's pretty rare in open source. But Umo first.
Yeah, maybe since I'm half a technical guy, at least, maybe something controversial. How much do you see maybe SPDX3 stepping a bit into that role of this universal data model? Because SPDX3 does not aim. Okay.
Nope. SPDX3.
There's an SPDX retainer sitting next to you, and another one there. So no.
I can tell to you, SPDX3 is a byproduct. Cyclone DX is a byproduct from a set of data. So the data for generated, the both ones are exactly the same. It's using for different things. So for legally purposes, for having a document, for having a concise document, yes, SPDX3 or Cyclone DX, that's correct, and you need to. It's not like some people delivering to you a README file this is my software and how I legally says to you, no. So that's why SPDX exists. But the wrong way to people thinking that SPDX or Cyclone DX or any other format is a way to transfer information. Yes, this would be okay. In 30 years ago, when they started very limited computing that we cannot network other things. Today, no. We have any more resources. So your data that produce these byproducts need to be stable.
So I was not just thinking about S3 as a document, but the data model behind that. Is this more database-like approach in the data model could be a step towards describing data in that way?
Yes and no at the same time, because this fight is already about this kind of the things. what the SPDX could provide, what is the necessary information that could store, but not necessarily the data model, because we are not, the data doesn't need to be in a specific model. It need to generate, we need to have exists in the way that you can generate that model. So you're talking about the middle implementation for what's generated. Let me tell you a simple thing that what this can cause if you have in this data, completely whole data in some way. We could create one single SPDX generator and everyone could use it. We don't need to everyone re-implement SPDX generator or implement a Cyclone DX generator because the data exists in the same way. So the quality will raise a long time because instead of re-betting of 300 different ways to generate SPDX, we have one, and a lot of people look under this. So it fails for everyone or it becomes perfect for everyone in one single time, as long as the set of data is there.
But then I think you really need to be more precise if we talk about version 2 or version 3, because version 3 is a meta model. And also maybe we should talk about this again with Kate. So that's one point.
Yeah.
If I look at Thomas, he might have some more insights. So technically, yes, so you know me, I'm a process guy. So for me, it's the same. But at least I would at least say the one will not go without the other. So yeah, so I would hate if we would have then an SPDX meta model and this meta model, and then would need to do migration conversions, etc. all the time. So we should talk to each other.
Yeah, we should avoid do conversions and migrations. This is completely wrong.
And the good thing is we're growing together, and that's also what we try. Also, maybe if I may then, if you can open the OpenChain and Friends here, just as for those who are more interested in this, so maybe I go there.
You're board members. You can do whatever you want.
Well, which one you want?
Sorry, Hail.
Which one you want?
Just Google.
Mention what?
Google OpenChain and Friends. Just whatever.
Can I ask one question to Helios? Helios, I believe that's why the protocol is existing under the OpenSSL.
Just if you got no reference, OpenChain and Friends. Yeah. But there was one question for.
Yeah, yes.
Yep.
That's why the I forgot.
It's been a long
protocol is existing under the OpenSSL. So what do you think about the protocol?
Protobombs. I remember to see they started the idea of protobombs in the 3-4 FOSDENs ago. There was the protobombs is still the same thing. They are still generating some byproducts that they use as a reference to generate the final one. You still rely on something that parsing and doing things. So you are still enforcing people to do it itself in every tooling to generate these things. So it's just another byproduct of this.
For the picture.
Okay. Don?
Now everyone's.
Yeah. Okay. So that's, the protobonds was a very good idea. So if you're thinking about a templating system for there, but still byproducts. And we are not storing things out there. They enforce their format, assuming that everyone is use it. What we are trying to do is get rid of any format. I need to store whole data and access whole data. So if you have, this is the insane, I think, ideas that we can produce every single data from the scanning or whatever and store that way that you can restore everything.
I love protocol and the idea is great. I love protocol and the idea is great, but the real problem is basically the reality code is translated into different type of SBOMs. So even if you can translate the protocol from one format, SpDX to SPDX, easily, my biggest problem is I've got SPDX, any SBOM as input, their quality usually varies, including, so what Phil's looking at also how it's off.
2 fingers.
So, yeah, so the column is not changing between Cyclone DX and SPX. That's generally relatively simple.
This one.
The problem is basically reality and code is not being reflected, and there's simply not being any funding made to work with upstream.
Yeah, so I raise an interest, Alistair, raising an interesting question about whether, if you want to, there's 2 ways of looking at this problem. You can try and put everything in one place so that everybody can see it, right? And then the other problem you have is that people don't want everything in one place because companies don't want to share all their information about what they're doing. So you end up with an interesting problem of how, I don't think you can resolve that problem.
No, I don't, and I'm talking, that's exactly the thing. We want to put in this specification for people design it, the implementation in the database becomes in the company. I'm not talking about everyone using a global. This is our dream to have in some things. But the reality, for example, lawyers from one company doesn't trust in the lawyers the other company. So there's nothing this. But no, the idea is that the specification is a way to every tool talking. But from where, which repository, if the company decides to put everything on their company itself, completely fine. I want the tools talk to each other and access whole information, not I provide the whole information and for everyone.
Oh, right.
So to use nerdy thing, you're trying to specify the layer 6 semantics of this type of thing. If I were to use OSI things, you want to be very detailed about how that works?
Yeah, that's just a little bit far than what we want to do, but in the end, yes. And then we implement the IPv6 and nobody will use it, so, but that's a different history.
Well, the reason I'm asking that question, right, is we had examples earlier on about the fact that we're dealing with people who can't even figure out whether they should be using integers or whether they should be using structured data or whether they should be using whatever it is, and then should they be writing in Unicode or this is a hard problem. Right?
Yes, this is a red problem, but then comes Marcel here and about the whole history on their semantics and specifications on SPDX3, and then we have a second on DX3, so we have well-formed kind of types for this case. Well,
maybe
we can start. We need to start because this is broken.
I agree.
Yeah.
I'm not disagreeing.
We,
Been there before.
we have time for one last question for Helio, and then we're going to hand over to Marcel. All right, then. Big hand for Helio. Now, before I hand over to Marcel, I just want to point out that you have a rare thing today in that Helio isn't just a technical person, he is an architect. And that's the type of insight that we don't often get. There's not that many software architects and not that many in open source. So we're very fortunate to have you here. And that type of high-level view and design view is critical. Yes, well, I mean, Zephyr is what, number 19 project in the world now? You see? That's why architects...
Honestly.
That's why architects are good. That's why vibe coding is not good. Alrighty, another big hand for Helio, and then Marcel.
Yeah, thank you very much. But it's not me alone. It's, I would say, also Thomas and Helio and the whole all friends. We just wanted to give. It is not an extra point, but it fits very well with the tooling. That we did an OpenChain and Friends event this time for the first time in Stuttgart, southern Germany, where we also saw, okay, hey, we should talk to each other, right? And not this and that and this and that. And you can see, you could just type in OpenChain and Friends in Google, etc. So Shane, he made an incredible good job in doing this everywhere. So everywhere you have OpenChain and Friends, it will lead you to those pages where you get those points. And also the friends next door, for example, where I say, okay, we need to talk to the OpenSSF, to the OWASP, because at the end, we have some common things that we work on. If you miss yourself with your community on this list, then please contact us. And on the one side, well, as I'm from southern Germany, Thomas is more or less from southern Germany, but we try to also have this more regional, also to give people the chance to who do not have the travel budgets, to have that much closer.
Can you explain what it actually is?
Yeah, okay.
So I should explain what OpenChain and Friends. So, OpenChain and Friends.
Yeah.
OpenChain and Friends is actually based on a series from the To-Do Group. So, but besides being active in OpenChain, I'm also a To-Do Group ambassador. And so, what we generally saw is like these conferences are very nice. We see a lot of people, but there is also a lot of people that are not here. And those are the people that are generally doing the work. So when we looked on the To-Do Group, we had a question, how do I get the people that cannot afford a conference ticket? And I can tell you, as a To-Do ambassador for this event, I arranged about 20 free tickets to get certain people in from all kinds of walks of life that simply, because of their employer or their financial situation, couldn't afford a ticket. So we were looking for something that is below the conferences. Something that's affordable, in-depth, and technical. So what I basically started doing, I have a background of many other things, but besides being software, I used to organize events, and I have some credit. So what I did is basically I went to one of my open source friends and said, like, can I borrow your office for 2 days? That's how it starts. And then we basically asked the host, what is your problems inside your organization? The whole thing said, okay. So what we then do is I go to my network and I was like, hey, Shane, could you please come on this and this date? Are you by any chance there? And we coordinate it. So what we basically do is we bring all the various communities that are related to that topic from LF, but also from outside of LF. We bring all the experts together, all the community together, so that organization as the host will get a unique insight that they will never get. Because normally you can't get all these experts together. So for them, they're like, we did the last one earlier by the Dutch employee insurance agency. They had never seen this. All these experts from all over the world flew in for a Dutch government agency and they were not paying for it. They were like, how does this work? But vice versa, we were able to get people from the Dutch government, the Belgian government also to come, and we invited the German government to present how they do open source in Germany. Similarly sized, when we went to Germany, OpenChain is a slightly stronger brand than To-Do, and we were focusing on compliance. So that's why OpenChain and Friends is the same formula. It's called Osmosis Life Framework, but then now we have it, because we have been collaborating with OpenChain, vice versa, and I have my foot in both things. So what we're now trying to do, and I'm hoping to present, hopefully if I get funding to go to Japan, to hopefully launch this also in the Japan series, there is a way for you as a community, a format that exists to basically create local events. If you're struggling within your company to get certain topics through, this is where Osmosis Life or OpenChain and Friends is a great mechanism. In this case, OpenChain and Friends in Stuttgart was paid for by
the Fosland
folks, which is basically a German government agency working on showing how open source is good for business. But again, for that government agency to get the right speakers in, it's very tricky. They usually have to pay for it. So this is where a collaboration happens between basically the various parts of the Linux Foundation and outside Linux, all of our friends that we basically called up and said like, hey, we arranged a space in Stuttgart for 2 days. We actually did a third day also in Bosch offices. And we are just going to put an entire what are your problems? What are your things? How do we get SMEs to understand this? So we're now looking, we do this series all over Europe from To-Do. We also now, hopefully, we will do another OpenChain event. I'm hoping to bring this also to Japan. I know there's a question from Japan. There's also a question from Korea.
And for 2026, we will try to do it again in Stuttgart region as a follow-up.
So that's basically...
So save the date.
So, the thing is, OpenChain meetings and To-Do group community meetings are great, but there's a lot of the time the same people showing up. Nothing bad against it. It's very great. But for us to, as community to have impact in society, we need to go to the people that are not there. So OpenChain and Friends is kind of the way for OpenChain, To-Do group, OpenSSF to reach the people that are typically not at open source conferences, that are not in community. It's meant to basically give the people that are like, oh, hang on, this is just a train ticket away, because that's how it started. My argument was, if it can be a train ticket away, any person can go to their manager and says like, hey, I would like to attend it, can I just get it? Well, if they have to come here, I'm pretty sure, Japan ticket, how much was it? Probably 3,000 euros. That's a hard conversation for my manager. But going to Stuttgart, for me from the Netherlands, from Belgium, from Luxembourg, from France, we have good trains in Europe. So we actually had people that will show up and they were able to fit it within their team budget. That's what we do. We need to go, if we want OpenChain to have impact in society, we need to go to the people that are not there. And that's also my ambassador role, what I now do. If you need help with this kind of stuff from to do, we go now where, and this is why people have asked, like, where is Thomas, where is he disappeared? I'm actually now working on where we are not there. So I work in the public sector now. I work where, for instance, I just was at travel, that was late. I help in the travel industry. Because they have exactly the similar problems, similar things, and they just don't know yet.
And I have a point to that. So OpenChain has been operating events now for 9 years around the world. And we have found that it is critical to go and meet new people. So we do try to go outside of what I'd call the open source comfort zone. And OpenChain and Friends, I think, was a good point there because it brought in SMEs that just don't come to open source events. You will find the same in other jurisdictions. So explicitly, the Japan work group brings in new people. It was, what, 52 or 53% new people last meeting. A large meeting, it was 92 people. China, our work group is 350 people, and we very frequently have over half the audience is quite new. So we do try to do that, and as Thomas said, it's pretty critical. And you're part of it. It's not like this is centralized control. You are the community. You're actually the people who make the ISO standards, make the events. I remember OpenChain and Friends, it was, you said to me, what if, what if we work with Fossland? That was it.
And that helped us also to provide that for free, right? Yeah. So we had no registration, etc. So we had a registration to know the people, but no fees. Point number one, we learned a lot, I would say, and it's also not about having big numbers, right, but having the right people. And to add that, so this was what Thomas said, the inclusion of our friends, but we also learned, and therefore I put my inclusion sticker here. Also what I learned, okay, we have not all underrepresented groups there, so what we also will look at in the next events, so that we also reach out to women networks, underrepresented groups, also to have, that they feel that this is also their event.
In fact, we should just announce it now, that at the next OpenChain events, and from now on, we're going to take the format that LF has, so we're going to have women and non-binary lunches and so on. We're going to try and open up more doors, bring in more people, and Marcel is spearheading this initiative. So again, he volunteered. It's incredible. Now, I do see we have one question over here, and then we'll wrap up the event.
It's not that much of a question, but it's also a comment and something to what you said earlier. Also at that particular event in Stuttgart, we also had a workshop with a lot of, let's say, stakeholders in different aspects of the industry. And comment to you, Shane, what you said was actually we collected 20 tools that we actually added to, I've just checked, the PR was merged in May. So this was the last major update of the existing list of open source tools, part of the existing tool landscape. 20. Yeah, 20.
Yeah, so we
brought it down.
Produced something. In
yeah,
this
we
event.
reduced some with Oliver based on their focus, but I think it turned out to be 14 or 15 tools at the end that were added. So this was the last major update of that list. Since then, Oliver added 2 or 3 as far as I know, but generally speaking, this also goes to show that this particular event was successful to gather basically knowledge from everyone that don't typically contribute.
And yeah, speaking of community, so sorry. This gentleman was manning desks and helping out in the background. We do the stuff, we are the stuff.
And if I look at Nicola there, also we had a great chance also to spark there this new working group for Meridian 22. So yes. The part of Europe, including Bulgaria, Poland, etc. So the right side on the map, I would say. Because we also saw there, okay, there are also underrepresented groups. So if you are from there, please reach out. We have a new working group, planning also to have a kickoff session there with some people. That's point number 1. Point number 2, also for those who say, yeah, traveling, even if it's a train ticket, well, even that's not possible. Also, Shane made an incredible job so that we had all the talks. I also tried to link them here on on the GitHub side, we also made follow-up webinars with all the speakers who were so nice also to volunteer, so that you have then also here not only the abstracts and the people, but does it show? Yeah, but also then I try to add also the recordings to the webinars that Chain made.
OpenChain has published in total over 100 webinars in the last 5 years. And you'll see we keep the pace usually at about 2 to 3 a month. Just on the point of Meriden 22, it'll be formally announced. I think we're going to have a call or something, do things in September. The OpenChain Meriden 22 work group will be covering a lot of the countries where we haven't had enough people coming to our events, yet there's incredible technology development and firms. So new area.
And a nice side effect, so from our friends next door, because we complained about, well, they do not have an European footprint. So they have now a European representative, and guess where she is? She's from, so first of all, that's also Czechbot. She's a lady, right? So, and second, she's from Romania, right? So she's perfectly right into it.
There's so much software development in Romania and all that, and you never see the people.
Yeah.
Well, they are everywhere.
And our open source summit, the next one is in Prague. That's kind of Eastern Europe.
That's Meridian 22.
Yeah, so Prague is kind of Eastern Europe, so yeah, officially, but it's really still very far away from all the other countries there. So, you know, for me it's perfect to travel by train from Munich, but yeah, what would be great to see is an open source summit Europe that's not in Western Europe.
Well, you will see OpenChain holding events. I mean, that's a certainty.
In the next year, the Open Source Summit will not be
Is it Prague? Yeah, but it's
going.
very west in the east.
Yeah.
It's difficult. I know I had a discussion with the events team before, and there are reasons why, how it operates and all that stuff. It makes sense.
I would love to see Open Source Summit Timashwa or something.
Yeah,
I've
but
never been there.
we don't need to have this Linux summit, but with OpenChain and friends. If you're from there, please contact us. We try to help you. We as a community, we try to make that happen. And then maybe it starts with 10 people, then 20, then one day we will have 1,000 people there. Maybe, I don't know. But we need to start, and this is what we try to help with.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, I just wanted to give it to you.
I was just going to say, OpenChain isn't a rich project. We can't give someone 100,000 or something. What we do have, well, no, we don't. But we do have this incredible network of companies, and they give us space, they support us. So in this case, it was government-affiliated Fossland, but in other cases, we've had companies, like Japan goes company to company to company, and we have incredible offices. We took over Mitsubishi Electric's Hyper Lab thing last time. And they had cafes and stuff in the floor. It was like Google in '95.
And also just a story for those just to make some motivation incentive. So one of our tooling group meetings we had before Corona was the European Space Agency. So, and that came with also a tour through the agency. So I couldn't be there, and they had limited number of participants. So there might be also some side effects, some interesting ones. Yeah.
Right. Well, with that, we'll end. Big hand for our speakers, everyone who talked, and everyone who asked questions. Thank you, and see you next time.